I can say welcome to Romania with polenta. Not only Romanians eat polenta, it's a popular dish in many parts of Europe. And it replaces bread. It's a thick corn mush, basically. And we use corn grits for that. It's a very simple food to make. And we associate it with certain dishes, with soups and borscht and vegetable dishes and many kinds of stews. I'd like to show you before I use the flour. I'm using corn grits and not the fine corn flour. And also I try to get always organic corn, just because corn is so messed up these days. It's genetically modified, and I watched a video made here at UVA, basically, by some two students that did research for a couple of years about the corn in the USA. And this genetically modified corn is somehow enforced by the government to the growers, and the growers that for generations and generations used it to feed their families and their animals say we cannot eat it anymore. The animals will refuse to eat it just because they feel it's a different food, it's not natural as God created it. So I'm trying to get organic corn as much as possible. I make my own flour, but my flour gets like this, so I have to buy the corn grits for this dish.
Where do you buy?
Well, I don't live close to Charlottesville. I come from Newmarket, and I find in health food stores, you know, you have more options than I have in Harrisonburg. Charlottesville has many health food stores. We start with a non-stick pot, and I always started with cold water because otherwise it'll make lumps, and I really don't like that, and neither my family does, and they'll complain about that. And I started cold water and just a teaspoon of salt, and just another idea, if you want more nourishing salt, if something can be said like that, I prefer to use many times this kind of salt. It's called real salt, comes from a dry, central Utah, a dried up sea basin or something like that, and they say it has like 73 minerals, right?
Rock salt.
Rock salt.
You can buy it as a rock salt or ice cream salt in the store.
Yeah, and it has like 73 minerals besides the calcium chloride, which is the salt that makes us sick, right? We say if it's too much, but if it's combined with other minerals, it should be more healthy for us. I put the salt in the water, and then I measure. Where is my corn? I measure the corn grits. So it has to be in cold water again, otherwise you see how it tends to clump, even in cold water. Okay. And the only thing now that remains to be done with it is stir it for half an hour on high fire until it's done. I usually do other things while I'm cooking polenta, and my kitchen is always busy, and I have the privilege to be a stay-at-home mom now. It was not always like that, and I suffered, and my family was not happy when I was too busy making money. But now I have the privilege to cook from scratch and make healthy meals, and they enjoy it, and as we enjoy it, all of us. And polenta will cook now on high fire. It has will stir pretty often for half an hour. Something else that I wanted to say, it's a funny anecdote. In Romania, they say a girl will not cannot marry until she knows to make good polenta. It took me many years to make it as my husband liked it. So I don't know how I ended up marrying before I knew to make good polenta for him.
Okay, for people who cannot have salt, you can remove it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
No restriction, enjoy the cornmeal.
Okay.
It'll come like a thick mush at the end, a thick blob, and Another nice thing about it from the past was they will, instead of flipping the pot over a plate and getting it on a plate, they will place it on a cutting board, a wooden cutting board, and they will use a string to cut it when it was hot. That's the popular, the folk legend. I never saw it done by that in my life. And
So do you cook it until all the water is gone? And it's solid?
basically, you'll see, because you'll continue to stir it, and after other demonstrations, I finish it in front of you. Yes, the corn will absorb, will start boiling, and the corn will absorb the water, and it'll be very, very thick. More thick than oatmeal you eat in the morning, And it'll be sliceable, basically. When it's cold, it's really like hard bread, or more. And we have to be very careful. It can stick to the bottom and burn easily.
So do you cook it until it is thick, or can you pour it into another dish and it will thicken
No,
on
we
its
have
own?
to cook it. We have to keep it on the fire for half an hour or so on high fire, on the highest fire, to be sure it's cooked. Yeah, keep it, like once a minute or so, not really continuously. But I'll be stirring it for for all this time. You'll see. Thank you, and I hope you'll enjoy it, Ariel.